Well, it looks like the Sixers and Ben Simmons have came to an agreement. He has been locked up for 5 years, 170. What is going on, everyone? Let's talk some Ben Simmons. That's going to be interesting. Guess what? This won't be the last time because he is a very interesting athlete here in Philadelphia with a lot of drama tied around him. But the Philadelphia Sixers and Ben Simmons agree to return for 5 years, 170. I'm excited for it. I do like the fact that the Sixers went out there and got the job done. They weren't fooling around. They said, Ben Simmons, we believe in you. We want you here in Philadelphia. Let's not play any games. Come back here. Let's make it happen. And they agreed. Now, the one thing I will say, though, in today's era of basketball, you've seen so many stars who have been signed by a certain team. You've seen those stars go into upper management at one point and demand a trade. So it's great that he's here with Philadelphia, and I don't expect him to do that anytime soon. But we've seen it around the league where stars go into their building and go, yo, I don't want to be here anymore. Demand a trade, and then they end up getting traded, and that team tries to get as much assets back as they possibly can get. Look at Paul George. He just signed an extension with the OKC Thunder. When he was available, he went back to OKC. Well, now he demands a trade to LA. And that's just one off the top of my head. You see it all around. Russell Westbrook just did it too. I mean, you thought he'd be a Thunder for life kind of guy. So just keep that in the back of your mind. It was the right thing to do, and I'm happy about it, and you should be happy about it too. Ben Simmons is a good player. But just know, down the line, at any point, he can say, I want to get out of here. I don't want to be here in Philadelphia. Ship me to enter team name here. And then our hands are essentially almost tied behind our backs. And you have to do it. That's just reality of where the NBA is today when it comes to the players having all the power. But let's get into some other news with Ben Simmons. So he announces he will not be playing in the FIBA tournament with Australia. I see both sides of this. I see fans that are really disappointed, and I see fans that don't mind it. This is where the people who don't like it, where I don't see where they're coming from. Because they say, this is where he's going to learn how to shoot. This is where he's going to take the jump shots. This is where he's going to be in a real game atmosphere and he's going to be aggressive and take jumpers so he can practice. I don't think Ben Simmons' jumper relies on if he's playing in FIBA or not. He's either going to have it or he's not. It doesn't matter if he plays in the FIBA or doesn't play in the FIBA. It's either he comes back with the jumper or he doesn't. That's reality. It's not like if he went to the FIBA tournament, that means he's coming back with the jumper. And if he doesn't, that means he's not coming back with the jumper. That's not how my mind works when it comes to actually assessing this. Now, because we're giving him this hefty contract, something tells me inside that I believe the Sixers had talks with Ben Simmons. Listen, dude, we're giving you this big contract. I don't know if we want you to go out there and play. I don't know if we want you to play for the team. We'd rather you be within the Sixers organization, working with people who we know, who we respect, who we've worked with before. We want you working for us right now because we're about to land you this big-ass contract. And then those two worked it out. Because we offered this contract how many weeks ago? And then there was some discussions between the two parties, and now it's officially signed. I think there was communication between the organization and Ben Simmons and his team and said, this is what we want. Now, that's not 100% reported. That's how I feel this went down. Because you remember Ben Simmons, after the season was over, is excited to be a boomer, he said. And he's Australian and wants to perform for his country. He's a fan of participating in these type of events. And now all of a sudden, as soon as he's getting ready to rock and roll with a big payday with the Philadelphia 76ers, now he's not going to participate. I see correlation between the two. But I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me. He can practice what he needs to practice outside of playing in a FIBA game. It's a mentality thing with him. He's just going to have to continue to work. whether it's an open gym or not. And it's not just the jumper. He's got to work on the free throws. He's got to work on being aggressive. If he had more confidence in his free throw shooting, he can be more aggressive. The reason why he gets shy and doesn't go full mode aggression at times is because he knows if he gets fouled, he's not confident in actually making the free throws. Now, did he make a little improvement last year from the year prior when it comes to him at the charity stripe? Yes, a minor improvement. And I know all this doesn't happen with the snap of the fingers, but we need to see him continue. An open gym or FIBA game or whatever the case may be, he can still work on. And then obviously the Tobias Harris news, which I touched on just a tad in a Sixers video a couple days ago about him mentioning the two back-to-back three-pointers that Ben Simmons hit. I don't mind that he said that. I don't. But once again, there's a part of this fan base that hates it. You're putting too much expectations on Ben Simmons now to drain threes. If you know how sports works, if you've been a sports fan for a long time, if you've watched players grow over their careers, because Ben Simmons hits two back-to-back three-pointers on Tobias Harris in a pickup game, that doesn't automatically mean he's going to start nailing threes left and right. I mean, that's on you if that's your expectation at this point. It's nice to know that he hit them, though, and I'm not going to sit there and smile about it and fist pump and go crazy because I need to see it in a real game. An open gym is an open gym, but it's better than him not making the three-pointers. And I just want to date back to something last year when Ben Simmons took that one three-pointer. I believe it was against the Brooklyn Nets. He walked right up to the line. He set his feet. He shot the three-pointer, and it went around the rim and popped right out. And then from there, he really didn't take any more. So I really do put that in my head. I have that series in my head, that scenario. And I always question, what would have happened if that actually fell? Because he went right up to the line, confidently let it fly, saw the hoop, released it well, and let it fly. And it was this close to dropping, but it didn't. Where would we be? I hate to do this, but I do think about it sometimes. Where would we be with Ben Simmons if that shot fell? Would his confidence be higher? And it's crazy because realistically, I've had this channel up for close to 2 years now, 1.5 to 2 years, right? And I've been listening to sports radio for so many years now. The Ben Simmons shoot talk is absurd. Like, I don't know where sports radio would be in dead periods of time when it's dead sports time without this Ben Simmons guy here. Because the conversation of Ben Simmons can't shoot can be talked about any day of the week. It's so controversial. It's so insane. It's so out there. Like, it's unreal that here I am making a video on Ben Simmons' contract, 5 years, 170, and we're talking about his jump shot. Like, that's it. That's going to carry with this guy forever until he actually makes one. Until he actually starts making them consistently. Not three-pointers, but a jump shot consistently. It's just wild to me that with this young star, this 22-year-old, we sit here almost every day and can talk about the same discussion, the same topic, day after day after day after day. Like, you can't do that with anybody in this city. You can't do that with every athlete. There's only a few that has that much discussion about them. This is to, like, an extreme, and it blows my mind. But it's reasonable conversation now. I'm not knocking that it's reasonable. It's just funny to me. It's the same conversation after same conversation after the same conversation. But that just shows and speaks value on, how big of a flaw this is that he has to figure out. And how big of a difference it can be if he actually has a jumper compared to if he doesn't have a jumper. But is this gonna be one of those seasons where, it's a lot of pressure on the kid? A lot of pressure. He's going to have to step up to the plate. He's going to have to step up and figure it out. He's going to have to take that next step in his career. Because if he doesn't, it's going to be a riot here in Philadelphia. Really. Now, do I think he's going to come back with something? I would have to think he understands that he needs to. I'm putting myself in Ben's shoes. I signed this big deal. I work out with the Sixers all summer long. I've been getting made fun of for the last 2 years for not having a jumper. You know what I'm doing every day? Working on the jumper. Every damn day. Every single day. Mamba mentality. That's how I would do it. That's how I would do it. That's how I would approach this situation. Now, is Ben Simmons going to approach it that way? I can't tell you who he is, but just from a former athlete's perspective in myself, being around athletes, being around good athletes, and seeing professional athletes grow from the time they're 18 to, where LeBron is now, things of that nature, you would think he would add something to his game this year. So I want to know your thoughts down below on this entire conversation here. From the contract, are you happy with it? How do you feel about realistically knowing he could probably demand a trade at any time and our hands would be tied behind our back and we would have to? What do you think about the conversation of Ben Simmons' jump shot that is a common theme whenever we talk about the Sixers? Now, I find that interesting. I'm not knocking that we all talk about it all the time. I find it almost intriguing. Like, that's insane, really, at the end of the day. What about working on his free throws, the no FIBA thing, not playing for Australia? I want to hear all your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Go Sixers. It felt good to put this jersey on again. It's been a while since I got to throw on the Ben Simmons J, and I'm looking forward to the season to start. I know that there's obviously a lot of time, but the anticipation for this squad is an all-time high for me. I can't wait to be dancing to some Sixers win songs this year and just getting the boys back together on the court and going down to the Wells Fargo Center and enjoying South Philadelphia, going to Xfinity Live before the game, grab a couple cold ones before you go in, seeing all the blue Sixers shirts, the Sixers hats. The Sixers are going to be fun as hell. So let me know your thoughts. See you guys next time.